What's going on, guys? Let's take a little second to talk about turkey shells and choke tubes and all that good stuff. If you're new into turkey hunting and this is maybe your first year turkey hunting, more likely than not, the shotgun that you bought probably came with a factory full choke tube. If it did, my recommendation is to use the factory full choke tube, especially if you're going to be hunting in a pop-up tent and you're going to have a decoy set up at maybe 20 to 30 yards. If you don't feel comfortable taking a shot on a turkey past 40 yards, your factory full choke tube is going to take you all the way. It's not until you get to the point where you feel comfortable shooting a turkey past that distance do I personally believe that you need to upgrade the choke tube slash put in a heavy consideration in the shot shell combinations. So again, if you're a new shooter, save the money. You can use it somewhere else in the overall scheme of things. Maybe get yourself a better decoy, get yourself better hunting equipment in general. But again, I don't think that's a must buy. Now, if you decide maybe I want to do a little bit more run and gun style shooting, like that's personally the style that I choose to pursue turkeys. That's when the shotgun shell choke tube combination is a little bit more important, and the reason is I feel comfortable taking a 50-yard shot at a turkey. Honestly, I feel comfortable taking a 60-yard shot at a turkey. I'll have some patterns here to show you guys and really help you understand why I feel that way. But let's talk about the shell that I personally use, and I think this is one of the best shot shells out there right now for the money especially, and that's a Longbeard XR. So all these targets up here are Longbeard XRs with the exception of this. This is a heavy metal Magnum blend. I'll get into that in a little bit. But I really feel like Longbeard XRs are a great shotgun shell for one main reason, and that is the way that they put the shot inside the wad. So just to give you guys a little bit of fundamental basics of how a shotgun shell works. When you fire a gun and that wad travels down your barrel, it's going to hit your choke tube at some point. And when it does, the choke tube is going to apply some compression to your shot. And with lead as a material, lead is malleable. So lead is actually soft. If you take a little lead bar, you can probably scratch with your finger and dent it. Well, what that means is as that shot goes out that choke tube, it's applying compression. And what happens is those shots kind of rub together and you get the outside edge on a lot of your different shot wads. It is what I would call flyers. And basically what a flyer is it's when a pellet is not perfectly round. And when a pellet's not perfectly round, it flies out into the air at, I don't know how many thousands of feet per second, 1,200 feet a second, and it just flies all over the place. So it's not shot that you can consider to be a downrange player for you. And lead is really it's really well known that you lose a lot of shot to flyers. Well, what Longbeard XR did was they took the shot wad and they poured the lead in, and then they put this resin powder material, and I'll put some quick pictures of that powder resin material. But so what Longbeard XR did is they actually took the shot cup and put the shot in, and then poured a resin in. And instead of the pressure being applied from a pellet to pellet standpoint, it's a pellet to resin. So it actually protects and acts as a buffer on your lead shot. You get far less flyers, which means far more pellets downrange to do work for you. And that's just something that I feel like separates Longbeard XRs from every other lead shot shell out there. Now, that being said, we'll talk about the heavy metals. If you use a non-toxic shot shell, whether it be tungsten, nickel, bismuth not so much because it's still soft, but tungsten and nickel are really, really hard pellets. They're real heavy, they hit hard, but they're hard like steel. And the problem that kind of can create is if you put too much of a constriction on a tungsten shot, like a TSS, and it goes down the barrel, I'm not going to say all the time, but there is the chance that you may have a really bad pattern because you've over-constricted that. Same reason why you can't shoot your steel out of a factory lead full choke tube. You have a terrible pattern, and it's not good on the choke tube. So bear that in mind if you decide to go with one of those non-toxic shells, that you probably need to take some time to pattern it and make sure that the combination you have is working out for you. So starting up here in the upper right hand corner, these are all at 45 yards except for the bottom one, and they're all Longbeard XRs of some different classification. So this one is a 4. This is the last 4 I had left from a few years ago. I kind of phased out of using 4s. I at first liked the idea of having more downrange energy with a 4, but I realized that a 6 has more than enough to kill a turkey at 60 yards, so I like the pattern density a little better. So this is a 4. I pulled the shot, I think, because the density is mainly at the bottom part of the target, so I'm going to take responsibility for that. I wasn't going to buy another box of 4s just a pattern again because I'm not going to shoot them anymore. This is the 5. Great pattern. I was really happy with that. 5s. I actually have a box of 5 left that I'm still going to shoot up. But I think from here on out I'll probably shoot nothing but 6s. And this is why the 6 pattern, unbelievable. You have a really great clustering here right in the center neck. This is again at 45 yards, which is a distance most people don't even feel comfortable shooting a turkey. But to have this amount, I mean, there's probably 13 pellets in a 1-inch circle, and that's just unbelievable. That turkey's stone dead. All of these turkeys are stone dead, but that's just a really, really, really great pattern. Now, this is the big one. I want you guys to look at the difference. This is the heavy metal magnum blends. That's the tungsten nickel, that real hard shot that I was telling you about. And this is another Longbeard XR6. So these are the same shot size, 2 different distances. This is at 65 yards. Again, this is at 45 yards with the heavy metal magnum blends. At the 65 yards with the Longbeard XR6s, I had 10 pellets in the kill radius. At 45 yards with the heavy metal magnum blends right here, there's only 13. So heavy metal magnum blends at 45 yards, 13. Longbeard XR6s at 65 yards, 10. So only a 3-shot difference between the two in over a course of a huge 20 yards. So again, it's clear as day, even comparing the two similar distances, the 6s to the heavy metal. If you look at the Longbeard XR, the overall pattern density, the shot, how dense it is here and here, right center on the neck, is so much denser and more consistent throughout than the heavy metal magnum blends. I did not have very great luck with the heavy metal magnum blends. I did kill some turkeys with it. Most of them were inside 30 yards. But after seeing the pattern that it had at 45 yards, I decided to look for other options. So that's really it. I will say this, if you guys are going to shoot at a decoying tom, if you're hunting out of a pop-up tent, I almost recommend not going with a super tight choke tube. And the reason is, if you go with this, like the pattern, the choke tube I have right now is a Predator heavy metal choke tube, so it's a 665. I think when you're talking turkey choke tubes, the constriction is really what you need to be concerned about, is how tight is it. 665 is kind of on the top end, whether it be an Indian Creek or a HS Strut, Jellyhead, whatever. 665 is pretty tight. So a tight choke tube like the one that I'm using. This pattern right here is at 45 yards. At about 10 yards, it's going to be somewhere close to a tennis ball. And the reason why I don't want that sort of a pattern is when you get that tight of a shot shell, if I were to let my girlfriend borrow this gun, or maybe a younger person who's not super fluid with shouldering a shotgun, if they were to under shoulder, over shoulder, not get their head completely down on the gun and shooting a quick second, there's a real good possibility that they're going to miss because of how unforgiving shooting a super, super tight choke tube at short distances are. So if that's the style of hunting you do, you're better off with a factory full. Let that shot open up a little sooner. Let them 30-yard shots and them 20-yard shots be a little easier on you. But again, if you're the type of person who is okay and comfortable taking a 60 to 65-yard shot at a turkey, today's technology, it's absolutely possible, especially with a scope nowadays. But it's more than capable of being done. So again, get out there, check it out. This weekend's our turkey season. Me and the pops are going to go out and maybe put the hammer on a big Longbeard. So wish us luck. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave a message there, and I'll let you guys know what I think about a product or a combination. But best of luck to you guys, and thanks for watching.